Here we go. Now you all have to give me permission. So welcome everybody. Welcome. We're so excited today. You'll see me looking over here because I'm watching on my telephone for our live folks that are joining us if they have questions. I'm so happy you're back, Amy.
Yeah,
On
thank
camera.
you.
Yay.
Yes.
Amy hasn't been on camera for a couple weeks because she had COVID, Christine. So, and I have missed her because I don't like listening to myself that much. So, anyway, we want to welcome my friend Christine to talk to us today about the healing records, the Akashic record reading. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself. I will tell you, I have personally used Christine, which is why she's here. I found her, God, it's about a year ago now. And we had several sessions and they changed my life. They just did. Especially the word joy and play were big keys for Mrs. Foss here. So, Amy, you want to take it away? And
Yeah, I haven't had them done or had the pleasure of having them done, but I'm really excited. And so I really don't know a lot about it. But, and so I'm assuming there's probably a lot of you out there like that as well. So we are definitely going to leave time at the end for you to be able to ask questions. But we're going to kind of let Christine just, tell us about herself and what she does. And we might interrupt her once in a while for some clarification or a question that pops in our head. But we're going to let her do most of the talking. But we definitely will have time at the end for questions because I think we'll have quite a few of those. So, welcome, Christine, and so glad to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. It's so beautiful that we can all be connected no matter where we are in the world. Yeah.
yes, it really is. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into it? By the way, hello,
Sure.
everyone.
Hi, everybody. I have been in the healing field and the healing arts since 1995. I've been on my own healing journey since 1985 when I was 26. I had what you call a dark night of the soul was my first one. I've had quite a few since then, and I had an awakening and realized that my life really wasn't what I thought it was. So it set me on the journey of transformation and exploration and all the new age teachers and self-help. And, I think it's the biggest shifts in our lives come when we're in the most pain. So, I've had a few of those, and I've been able to use that information and my own experience to help clients and people and friends and family members in lots of different capacities up until this point. My newest evolution of myself is the Akashic Records. I've been reading those for about 13 years now, and teaching other people to read the Akashic Records for themselves, for other people, how to use the records as a transformational healing tool. I lived and worked at the Omega Institute in New York for many, many years in their wellness center, doing massage, energy work, and Akashic record readings. I've also taught at the Omega Institute. I've lived and taught around the United States, not out of the country, but in many, many other states. What else can I say about that? I read cards, I do energy work, I use the records, I use Ho'oponopono, I use flower essences, multidimensional flower essences that Kitty has tried, and Penny also. They're on a company called FlorAlive. We have one of the bottles here. I do consultations. When I open the Akashic Records, I'll get information and help get you to the right formulas. They've just been an invaluable tool. You just never know where life is going to take you and what one healer or one experience takes you to the next. And then I just get to share that with everybody.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about that, what the Akashic record actually is, and about the different levels, and the kind of like what, I mean, I literally found Christine via a website because I heard the words Akashic record at a seminar, like you said, you never know where something leads you. It was actually about dreams. And they said, oh, well, that's the level of the Akashic record. I'm like, oh, what, the what? So if you could maybe, there are
Right.
probably
So
other people out
let's,
there like
yeah.
me.
So generally, right, your dreams, right, we go out of body, we go someplace else during our dream time. And some people will call that the sixth dimension, the dimension of angels, of guides, of spirits, of masters, of teachers. And I that sixth dimension is, it's not a place. I see the sixth dimension as the glue that holds our 3D world together. I think of the sixth dimension like as God's ear. So if it's the way source listens to everything and makes it have a shape, form, and an experience. So, and in that Akashic Records, it's gathering information and experiences and thoughts. And you can think of it more simply as a big library of your soul's history, but it's recording everything in the universe: plants, animals, rocks, mountain ranges, pyramids, addresses. I mean, it collects everything to make everything so. Let me explain that a little bit. So have you ever heard the saying, when a tree falls, does it make a sound? Mm-hmm. And what they've proven is it does not, unless someone hears it to record it. So that's how I think of the Akashic Records, is the recorder of everything that is here, that we see, feel, and experience.
So it's like an energy library then, kind of, right?
Of everything. And individually, as people, our soul's history, but we're multi-dimensional beings. So it doesn't mean that it's just here on this planet, although that's what I work with. Which brings me to another point. The records can be used for anything. And every person that opens them will speak and understand the Akashic Records in a different way. Like if you went to a different Akashic Record than myself, reader, they might talk to you just about past lives, or they might talk to you in the realm of herbs and how your body responds to them. So you can use them for anything that you want. It's like it's for every person that reads the records, there's a way that they can interpret them and use them. It's very individual. So in the healing field, the way I use them, because my background is in massage and body work for 20 years, I very much connected to the body. So I found that I didn't have to have my hands on people's bodies to feel what was going on. So I use the Akashic Records to look at patterns and imprints, recordings, reactions, energetic imprints in the physical body, and I help release those for you. You can think of those as beliefs or buttons or reactions to the world. And they can be identified through sensations. Our body is always talking to us, but we're not listening. So the way I use the records is to get into I use someone's individual name, the day and month of their birthday, and that opens me up into their field of energy. And in that field of energy, I can, along with that person and their permission, we can look at original places where those imprints were put in. It might have been a past life, this lifetime, and we might not even get a story at all. It'll just be a sensation. And through that sensation and awareness and being in the records with that high vibrational sixth dimensional energy, which is transformational, patterns just seem to melt away or transform. And in that transforming, that density of those lower vibrations like judgment, anger, unresolved emotions, guilt, shame, resentments, it raises that vibration up to the sixth dimensional vibration, which is love, compassion, forgiveness, acceptance, gratitude. So we become more of who we truly are, because we are that energy. Sorry, I didn't put my do not disturb on. That was
Hey,
my,
Mercury's retrograde. Everything goes.
that's my
Everything goes.
my
Yeah.
niece calling from college. Okay. Where was I, you guys?
You were talking about the energy and release.
Oh, raising up your vibration, right?
Yeah.
So we carry around all these densities with these worries, these things, these things we think about when we're in the mind. We're not in the physical body, and the body's always talking to us, saying, "Hey, over here, listen to me. Got to pay attention." And we just don't listen. We think about things. We try to figure them out. We try to make ourselves feel better. We don't want to feel those feelings, and every time we do that, it goes down into the physical body, and another layer gets put on of density that keeps us away from the truth of who we are. Have you ever heard anyone's, have you ever noticed anybody or heard anybody say the older they get, the more set in their ways they get?
Mm-hmm.
Or they, I didn't used to be so angry and now I'm angry, like it just keeps building until it's acknowledged, seen, and let go of. So back to the records. When I open the records with a prayer and the person's name, and I'm talking to the masters, teachers, and loved ones of that person or a group. And in that, the first thing that I get is usually a snapshot of what that person came in with, the challenges, but also the gifts. And then we just talk about what's up in their life. Where's their resistances? If they're here and they want to be over there, what's blocking them? They might see a pattern in relationships that we can look at, or physical illness. I've seen people heal phobias, illnesses. One of my clients had a scoliosis. She's 32 years old and it's gone, and it was bad. So a lot of things that we hold can be just patterns from past lives or this lifetime, just stuck. Because energy is meant to flow, emotions, energy in motion. Things, our energy is supposed to be moving all the time. And when we resist life and what's happening, or we react to it, no, it shouldn't be that way. Or anger arises, and that's fire. It throws us all off. So I can help people come back into harmony. Energetically, the chakras, the meridians, the nadis, all starting to talk to each other again.
It's very interesting. Is there something like you interview people to go in, or I've been through a session, so I have an idea of how that goes. So
I don't need to know anything. I don't need to know anything in the beginning, and then we just have conversation. Like really, what would you like to change? Where do you feel stuck? And we have a conversation back and forth, and then there's something that comes up. And then we use one of the transformational tools. It's breath, it's awareness, because energy goes where awareness, what's the saying, you guys? Where energy goes, where awareness flows, or something like that. So where we put our attention, if we're out there paying attention to other people fixing things or trying to fix problems, there's no energy here, so our energy is not flowing. It's moving, but it's not the highest vibration that we can have. We're still alive and functioning. If you bring that awareness back inside and notice what's going on here, life force is increased. And in that increase of life force and those densities being moved when we're connected to our heart, compassion and love, forgiveness and peace, ultimately. And nothing stays permanently, though, right? So you remember what that place is like. So when you leave it, you know that you're not there anymore. Or life is just showing you what the next thing is that wants to be looked at, to be healed or felt or transformed.
that's really interesting. Do you sometimes, when you open an Akashic record, because I'm kind of curious how you train for that, what you do for that, do you sometimes get premonitions or information about the future? Because I know time is our constraint.
Yeah, that's not my gift. So my gift is really helping people stay in the present moment, because I believe shifts in healing and miracles happen in the present moment, because a miracle is just a shift in perception. So if we're thinking about the future or stuck in the past, we can't be here. So I use the body as the anchor and the breath to the present moment for the transformation to happen. And that's what I try to keep clients out of too much of the head. We have to talk about stories, because stories are important too. But while the mind is talking, the energy in the records is shifting. I mean, I've had sessions where I've never even done a healing or brought someone to their breath, and they call 2 weeks later and tell me how their life has changed, or someone that they were estranged from called them on the phone, and and everything is great now. Or this is one of my favorite stories. Jessica Lippum in Sarasota. She's got an acupuncture center there, and her son was having a really hard time. He was 4 years old, and he was going into kindergarten, and she was worried that he wasn't going to be able to, he was too hyperactive, that he wasn't going to be able to do well in school. And he had crayons, and he would only use the black and red crayons, and he would just make all of these lines. And he was jumping off of his bunk bed, off the top bunk, and hurting himself. So I got a past life where he was a kamikaze pilot, and he was going down. And as he was going down, he realized that's not what he wanted to do, that he knew that what he was doing was wrong, that he was killing people. And that's, and he wasn't going to see his family again. And that was it. That's all that was said. And 2 weeks later, she called me back, and he stopped jumping off the bed, and he was using all the crayons in the box. So you just never know. When a change is going to happen, if you're present in the moment with it, it'll shift. There's really not a doing. It's not so much, people who think we need to do things different. It's more about just being with what is, because the universe is always showing us what we're holding. Like someone cuts you off in traffic, like the universe is showing you that you're holding impatience, if you have a reaction to it. So we're always seeing what's inside of us. If we're in a relationship and, it's abusive, it's showing you that there's a part of you that you don't believe is worth it, or self-esteem, or believes in punishment, as a way of transforming. So there's always clues.
Wow.
I like to say that nothing is happening to us. Everything is happening for us. Because we are love. This is all love. All just different levels of it and different vibrations of it. And some are more dense than others. And our body's pretty dense, and the body holds the unconscious. So between age 1 and 5, those patterns, those things that we didn't even have verbal experiences of, were all our perceptions, got all locked in, and unresolved feelings and things got pushed down into the physical body. And that is the manifestation of the unconscious. That's the 99% that runs our life. The unconscious is the body. And if you go into the body as the roadmap and the Akashic Records, which I do, we can help find it and release it. And shift can happen really quickly, right, Kitty?
Yes, very quickly.
Right.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Because it, the part that really resonates for me is when I'm in that energy, something is moving it anyway, just by opening. And, I was fascinated with this idea that you were opening like the volume of my energy. And whether you called it soul or it shifted it. It was a physical feeling. And that absolutely, especially at that point in my awakening, sent me someplace completely different. Like, oh, this is what that energy, it just moved.
And that's
all.
who you are. That's at the core of us. We're all that. We are all 6th dimension, which is love, compassion, and gratitude, I guess I would say, but grace and flow. And I mean, all of that is connected to it. And then when we hit up against something and we're not in that place, we know that's the next place to look. It's not the place to avoid or figure out, or it's to lean into it and soften the body and see where the reaction is and learn to hold it. Like I say this to clients all the time, like that part of you that's a little child that fell down and skinned its knee and it's in pain. And you can't take the pain away, but you can hold the child. That's what we have to learn to do for ourselves. Right? But we're not really taught that. And that's what self-love is. And acceptance is, okay, I've got this body, I've got this life. There's certain things I can work and hold, and some things I can't. You know, most of the stuff is out of our reach and out of our control. I think the only things we can control or put attention on to shift is our reaction to the world, because that's showing us where the child is with the skinned knee. That's right where you got to go. And that's right where people don't want to go. No, I don't want to go there. Let's go over here. Yeah, you're shaking your head, Amy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty, I mean, how did you like learn about this? And I mean, this is the you know, I understand there's the quantum physics of this, that time, memory, that we leave energy behind. That's how we access it. And so how did you learn about how to get to that kind of place? One of the things that really, I'll let you know, is they ask you for permission when you open your records. That, you know, I thought to myself, well, I'm here, why wouldn't I give you permission? But it was very, word that comes to mind is ceremonial, but that's not quite the same word. So maybe.
Well, I do an invocation. So, or some people might call it a prayer. But I think it's just intention. So, you know, all of us have intuition, right? And intuition also is from the sixth dimension. That's our higher self. So I think of the Akashic Records as just a broader intuition light. So if our intuition was like a flashlight light, think of the Akashic Records as like maybe an overhead light. You get to see yourself from a broader perspective, different aspects. And it also, because it's up a little higher, it's more compassionate. And when I open the records, the energy comes in and activates the heart chakra. So it opens us more to seeing ourselves with more gentle kindness and less judgment. How did I learn it? So I've gone to a couple teachers. Linda Howe was one of my teachers. Ernesto Ortiz was one of my teachers. But what I found is anyone that we're all able to access the records. It's our God-given right. You know, it is, it's the place of our higher self. So when I teach people to read their records or to read the records of other people, I'm giving them an outline. And I teach them the prayer and guidelines and practice with them, like hold your hands while you go in and learn to read them. Because it's, you know, it can be, I don't want to say it's scary, but some people have different ideas about what it's like. And because I'm so tuned into people's bodies, I can kind of feel their experience in the records, so I can kind of help them through that. And there's a book out there called The Akashic Records for Dummies. So, I mean, you can pick that up. It's not any kept secret. It used to be, you know, a couple hundred years ago, it was a different world. Our vibration was not as high. You know, Edgar Cayce, the famous Akashic record prophet, he slept when he went into people's records. He passed out because the vibration was so different between our dimension and being in the records back then that his body couldn't handle. He went into like dream state. But now our vibration is raised up, so accessing the records is so much easier. So, and it's definitely, you know, when you go in, it's a shift off of the normal, you know, our normal reality, but it's not like dreaming and it's not like channeling. You're not, it's no one else's voice. It's your voice. It's interpreted through your heart. So it comes in as light and then lands at your heart. And then my heart interprets the energy and then I give words to it. So it's got my flavor in it, but it's directly coming from whoever's records I'm reading. So like if you have slang words, sometimes things that I don't say will come out because it's from the other person. But I don't ever talk with a different tone of voice, or my eyes don't roll in my head. It's pretty normal. Pretty normal. Did that answer your question, Kitty? I kind of went around that.
Well, no, it does, because it's an interesting thought, especially about that our vibrations are higher. And what I immediately heard is because we need them to be right now, because
Yeah.
we need, I mean, I'm sure the kind of group that's going to be finding this too are people that are searching for tools. They know they're aware, but what kinds of tools out there? And I know getting your Akashic record read is a way to kind of move the vibration through. So, yeah, you answered my question. It's just, I find the whole thing fascinating. Amy, do you have anything to add? Because you're muted.
Before I go to Amy, let me just finish with you. Like, that's why I teach people to read their own records, because you use it as your own transformational tool. You don't even have to go to anybody else. You can do it through automatic writing. So, I mean, it's very powerful. I still do it. I go in my records every week. It evolves and grows as we grow also. So, and that it is a living entity as the universe is growing, the Akashic Records is growing. That's why scientists are saying that the universe is expanding. It's because it is, because the Akashic Records is holding it all and it's getting bigger because we're all evolving. So.
Are there different ways people read these records then too? I mean, like specialize or?
Yeah, people can specialize in anything they want in it. There's lots of different ways to get in. I teach everyone Linda Howe's prayer to get in. But like I said, there's a whole book on the Akashic Records for Dummies. I mean, you can get in all kinds of ways. So, yeah.
Oh, that's.
But I like to do something that's time tested, and I know that thousands of people have used this prayer, and I think of the prayer or the invocation as the intention, like the pillar of light that kind of protects me, and not protection from anything's going to harm me, but there's lower vibration, so it kind of beefs up my auric field to give me a little bit of a shield, I believe. Does that make sense?
Say that again. It probably makes sense to other people. Would you say it again? Because I'm like, what?
Yeah. So when I say the prayer, I think of it as my, let me see if I can say it a different way. As a pillar of light, because I'm asking for protection. And I'm not traveling anywhere, but I am accessing the 6th dimension. And to get there are other denser dimensions before the 6th. So when I'm invoking it, I'm invoking the highest source. And that is the pillar of light. And I think of it as a protective shield. And I think of my auric field as my own protective field. And I feel like it gives it more, what would this word be? Like more, more vibration, more density,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting to me. It just, because the farther I get in my awakening, the more I'm understanding that things are so much about the energy, about what's going on and what's happening around us. If anybody else out there has a question, or folks I don't want to unmute themselves, please feel free to jump in. And because I find the whole thing. So do you have like a typical person that is like you said, I understand when you're in pain is kind of when you're looking or when you feel stuck, but is it something that at a certain point you would say, hey, that's a good time to go get your Akashic record read, or a certain kind of
No, I mean, I have clients that I've seen for a few years every week, and I have some clients I only see once. They only call once a year. Um, so I would say that's very personal. You know, as a healer myself, I have a team of healers that I call on. You know, that help me support my process in different aspects, my physical, emotional, spiritual. Um, so that's it's very individual, and it's also very personal. Like it's like not everybody's going to be your friend, right? You wouldn't want everybody to be your healer. So you know, there's also a vibe. So people who come to me are people that vibe in the same, you know, the same vibration. And if we don't, they don't come back. Oh, that's not even true. I had a guy from Omega call me 7 years after he had a session and told me how it transformed his life completely. And I never heard anything, and he called me 7 years later. So, and I had another session. So just never know.
Oh, it's so interesting because, you know, I had actually never even heard the word Akashic until I was in this dream class, and I was like, you know, and she said her name was Penny Pierce. Everybody knows what Akashic Records are, aren't they? And I'm like, no.
No.
So, you know,
And that's what I said. That's a pretty broad, you know, it's a broad paintbrush. The Akashic Records, just think of it as sixth dimension. How the individual person uses it is what you really want to find out. You know what I mean? Because everyone's going to use it a different way. So when first thing someone calls me, and especially they've come from the internet, I just tell them my specialty is not past lives, if that's what you're looking for. Past life references come up, but I don't tell stories because I did in the beginning. I found that the stories were very entertaining and sometimes transformational. But the real thing is, how is that going to help you shift your life now? Past life patterns usually are playing out in this lifetime. Let's find that hole you keep falling in right now. Let's change your life. Let's look at it now so you change your future. Oh, you asked about the future. So I don't work with future tense. I take the past and the present and shift that so you change your own future.
so you teach them to work with the future then.
Well,
Right.
you look and you own those past shadow pieces or whatever they are. You love them, and then that shifts your life so you change your future.
Hmm.
Very empowering. The Akashic Records is a very powerful transformational tool. You know, they don't lie. They'll hit you between the eyes and tell the truth. It's,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that was my experience. And I didn't, I had done past life regression, but it was a completely different thing.
Mhm.
Um, you know, and I personally felt it across my heart and over my shoulders. That's what I remember, that I was doing a lot of this the entire time, especially the first reading. Um, and um, do people identify things in their body as this is going on to you? And because I don't even think I said that to you when I think of it.
No, but that's what I'm focused on. So no matter what we're saying or doing, that's my gift. So it's happening, whether you're aware of it or not. But you will notice that something shifts in your life.
Hmm.
Oh,
Jennifer asked how long sessions usually run.
I do only 45-minute sessions now. Um, I found that a half hour wasn't long enough. An hour, people were getting tired because we're doing a lot of healing work. So at 45 minutes.
Okay.
And the first session's really intense. The first session, I get that download and I get information about you. I get messages for you. And then we'll just touch on a little bit on how I do the healing. You'll get an experience of it. And that
Hmm.
you have to integrate that first session for a couple of weeks before you could come back again and work on, you know, like an ongoing challenge.
Yeah, I think you gave me homework.
Yeah,
Is what
always.
you did. Yeah.
Because we have to take responsibility for changing our life. We have habits, right? We have to create new habits. because it's easy to fall back into it, and the ego and the energy pathways want to fall back into it because it's comfortable, even if it's what we don't want. What we say we don't want and what we do want don't jive. You have to make changes. So they're usually, when I say they, the Akashic Records are very good at offering tools to support you in your transformation too.
Jennifer said, so you get the patient to change their energy. Is that what you would call it? Or what would you?
Your energy doesn't change. So there's vibrations. So say love is here and, fear is down here. Like, so they say that this is 100 and this is 5 or 10, right? There's different vibrations. And to get it to change, what we do is bring the love to the density through our awareness and hold it like the little child with its skinned knee. And by that vibration coming here and holding it without having a judgment or wanting it to change or making it wrong, or it just kind of dissolves and it moves. You'll feel energy move. I don't know if you had that experience, Kitty, when we were talking, but I ask people to go back and check a sensation, and it moves away, and you can feel that what was there isn't there anymore. And because that density, let's just call it that fear here, is not there, again, we have more space in our physical body for the light of who we are, which is a higher vibration. Not higher as in better, it's just a different frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And it's closer to the truth of who we are.
I think that's a really important distinction, because we often hear people higher and lower, and there's a judgment connected to it that, it's like, I don't like lower notes better than higher notes. It's just where I am, and, in that kind of evolution. But it's hard to remove a judgment from it, isn't it?
It is. And this is the coolest thing. I'm so glad you said that, because the mind has the judgment. The body only holds sensation. The mind has the story.
Say that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mind has the story. The car goes in front of me. Go, oh, you move, right? So the story is there. That person shouldn't have done that. They were wrong. I was right. But the body, has a sensation going on. You get butterflies, your stomach gets tight. So all you have to do is drop out of the head, leave that story, come down to the sensation, take a breath and soften. And there's going to be other stories that identify with that car going in front of you. Why? Because the universe is always showing us what we're holding as true, and everything is happening for us and nothing is happening to us. And we have an opportunity for gratitude for that car so we can heal. But that's very hard. It's very hard to do for yourself in the beginning. So I help kind of take the trash out to lighten it up a little bit and help teach you to do that for yourself.
All right. I would say that's exactly what happened. Paula had a question for you, but
Sure.
I'm going back to my sessions, and I think that I remember that's my story. Where is it? Yeah.
Yeah. And the sensations, the body doesn't hold this, no judgment. It's just like, I got a pain in my right shoulder. That pain in your right shoulder has a story in there. Let's go find it. There's all kinds of books about storage and stuff in the body. Louise Hay, Ina, what's her name? I don't know, there's probably 30 different books about how the body holds emotions and stories and sensations. So I just put that together with the Akashic Records, with Ho'oponopono, with flower essences, and we create magic.
Yay, magic! Go ahead, Paula.
Okay, this is really outside the box here, but it's just like bothering me, I guess I want to say, so I want to ask it. It's my understanding, the way you explain this, that each of us has our own records, and everything that has happened to us, our experiences and whatnot, for us as individuals, and that we can go in and check. So is there also a set of records for the collective, like the world? Let's face it, we're a mess. Okay, so all the things that cause us to be a mess as the collective have to be stored somewhere, right?
No.
No? Dang, I thought I was on to something.
Yeah, no. There is a collective consciousness, like the soup that we all can hook into, like the pandemic, the fear of that, but that's not the records. So that is a human experience of collective fears, or that we all experience on a human level. They can be escalated or de-escalated depending on what country you live in, even what state you live in, what district you went to school in. Each one of those has its own flavor, but you chose that. Your soul is always choosing where you live, who you see, what you experience. I believe that we chose our lives, we chose the contracts, we chose our parents, we chose these challenges to learn to love. To our purpose here is to open up to compassion and love and peace. And if we can do that on an individual level, Paula, you can help shift the collective that way. Even your
Okay, maybe
reaction.
that's where I was going with it. I knew it was outside there
Yeah, no,
somewhere.
it's not so
but
outside.
That sounds right to me, so we'll go with that.
Okay, good.
Well, I think that that's a really good point, because it kind of, I love when Paula said we're a mess, but are we a mess, or are we here in that? It's kind of how we see it is where we magnify it. Is that kind of what happens too when we look at the records?
Yeah, because wherever your attention goes, if your attention is the world is a mess, your attention is going out there and no shift happens in here. Okay, and in here is where the shift happens. We can't change the world, we change ourselves.
Well, because we see ourselves as separate, and we're not. The world is here, right? In that.
I'm not saying that quite. I'm just saying that if you want to shift how your reaction to the world is, you got to heal that reaction. So Paula's reaction is the world is a mess. So can I just use you for a second, Paula? Can I do a little healing with you? Okay. So I'm going to ask you to just close your eyes and take a breath. And then just feel your body and whatever you're sitting on. And then just take one more breath. And then I want you to inside have the conscious thought that the world is a mess. Just say it to yourself inside a couple times. And then notice what goes on inside of you. What does it feel like? Does it feel good? Is there energy moving? Does it feel tight? What are you noticing?
Well, there's a little bit of, I guess it feels kind of tight, I want to say, but it's not necessarily that I don't know that I really feel that the world is a mess. I feel other people's energy, and I have to protect myself from that, because that's what I'm feeling from everyone else. So I guess that's why I said it.
That's okay.
Like that.
Yeah, so I understand what you're saying, and that's totally valid. But
when I do say it, though, I feel
right, exactly. So that's all I'm asking you to notice, because our thoughts are directly connected to how our body feels and our body's health and energy and our well-being. So when we have one of those thoughts, our body's having a reaction, but we never go there to notice it. We go in our head, or we keep doing what we're doing, and we ignore our possibility of transformation, because the body is a map of the unconscious patterns. So you just bring it home, just bring it home, Paula. Even that other people, disturb your energy. When you have that thought, just take a breath and breathe, bring it home, and then just relax, and then energy can move, and you'll notice that things will start shifting in your life. Because again, the present moment is the key, girls. How many How many people, how many spiritual teachers do you know? They say presence, breath, stillness, right? It's all here, and it is all here. But we're finally putting together the body, mind, and spirit as one moving piece. If one is out of balance, they're all out of balance. You can't have one without the other. You can't have a healthy body if you live in your mind. You know, it just,
I'm a massage therapist too, 15 years. So I get it.
yeah. So thank you for that question. It was great. And do you feel, can you notice that you feel just a little lighter? Because I can see that your energy shifted.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if it was all of that or that thought just kept coming. It kept coming, and I thought, I'm going to explode if I can't ask this question. So now it's out. So it's kind of a release.
That's really, you know, it's kind of interesting to watch that, because and so our language really is important, even if we don't, what we say is really somewhere a belief, is what you're saying too, to shift.
It's all energy. You said that before, Kitty. Everything is energy. And if you're tuned into you can see it shift. I mean, she looks softer in her face. There was a, you know, whether she feels it or not, there's been a shift in her energy and her perception of how she was holding the world to be just for one moment. Right. And if we can do it for one moment, then we can do it for 2 moments. And then it becomes a practice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I just help guide people in that process.
Jennifer from Canada wanted to know, how long did it take you to learn this? And can you talk a little bit about where somebody might be able to find you for learning this?
Oh, absolutely. I'm doing a class in the end of October. So I'd love to have some more people.
If you'll send it to me, I'll make sure I post it too with this.
Sure, absolutely. And if anyone has already learned to read the records with another teacher, I have an ongoing continuing education class I call Deepening in the Records. So you can contact me about that too.
Okay.
So just recap the question again.
Just how long does it take to learn, and where could somebody join a class?
I do it in a weekend. It's about a 12-hour course, about 5 or 6 hours for 2 days. And you'll get the basics, and I have support groups going on from that. So, you know, once you learn to read them, I have an ongoing continuing education class. And then I also once a month do an Akashic Circle where people can come in, and we have 3 readers, and you ask a question, you get the answer from 3 different perspectives. 3 different readers will give you the answer to whatever your question is, which is quite fun. And that's how I support my students. And so I can see them working, and I'm there for them to talk, you know, to ask me questions to help support them while we're doing readings for other people.
And you'll send that to me so I can post it, because I know I'll be getting, did you get it? Did you get it? So, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
And do most people use it for a business, or do a lot of people just want to learn to do it for themselves?
It's very individual, very individual. Okay. I mean, you can read the records of real estate, of houses, of property. So I have a couple people who are realtors that use the Akashic Records. I have a couple people that work with animals, that work with healing with the animals and their owners in the Akashic Records. You can do it with crystals. You can open the records of crystals and talk to them. I mean, it's endless. The possibilities are endless. Whatever you can imagine, you can go in and ask the records. They just can't tell you the future. It's more about the past and the present moment, because the records is happening now and now and now and now, right?
And the healing's in the moment.
Exactly. You know? Yes, absolutely. And the body represents the present moment, right? It is here. It's not in the future or the past. The mind is, but the physical body is. It's the treasure map.
Well, and we came to take a physical body life. So learning about it kind of makes sense. Before I open to any more questions, because we tried to do that last 10 minutes, can you give them a little, Christine's also going to come back to talk about her other lifetime. and how you got into this, because this was fascinating when you took me over this journey. This is the FlorAlive flower essence.
So it's kind of a long story though. So let me just condense it, right? So
Okay. Let's move the energy through. So
I had these little bottles. I don't know, they were sitting on my shelves for a couple years, and I can't remember who told me about the company and whoever it was. And I had a consultation with somebody, and I had the flower essences sitting on the shelf, and I finally decided to try them and take them. And within 1 month, I had released so much heartache, heartbreak, because the essences were all around a relationship that I'd lost 2 years before that had ended. And it opened my heart back up. So, and then I went to the source. So I got really curious, and I called the creator or the founder of FlorAlive, and Dr. Brent Davis. And I went down to Nashville, and I met him, and I met him and his wife, and I went out to the farm and heard about all his adventures, about how he got the flowers, and that they're multidimensional, and that he extracts the essences from the flowers without killing the plants. And so he gets every ounce of vibration of it, and it's still all intact. And the flower essences talk to me like they did to him. He's been all over the world collecting and flowers, and he's got them from shamans in Peru and the Amazon and South America. I mean, he's gone all over to collect these specimens. But when I open someone's records and we talk about what's going on, the flowers, there's like, I don't know, probably 40 essences that are on the website. And then I've got other ones as a practitioner that I can call on, and they just pop up, and I just know which ones to use to help support that person in their process. So between doing a reading with me, which we'll call a healing or transformational, process, and taking the essences, you can move really fast. And you have to be ready for that too. Like, people say, I want it, and then it hits you, and it's like, no.
They're strong. They're very strong.
Yeah. And I work with, when I work with somebody too, you stay in contact with me, and we may need to adjust your dosage. We might put it up or down, or you might stop that one and have to start another one and then go back to that one. So it just depends on how it all unfolds, I guess.
So we're going to be inviting Christine back to talk more about how this and how they work, and how she's used them to support her work with the Akashic Records. I found out about it afterwards, and it was really and you were right, I was at that point at a whole different place. I know Penny is also, unmute Penny, throwing you under the bus. So, maybe you could share a little too, and then we'll open up for any other questions.
Yeah, I'm doing the essences, but I'm really looking forward, Christine, to getting with you and doing an Akashic record reading. On the essences, I am on my second bottle, and I'll tell you what, on the first bottle, I think I was 2 weeks in, and I felt the shift. I physically felt the shift, and I felt this opening up inside of me, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And I couldn't wait to continue and to be done with this bottle, to move on to my next bottle, to see what else would happen within me. And I had a shift in my life as well, from my first essence. And my husband and I are moving into a way of life that we have been looking forward to for a long time. And it came through the flowers and Christine. So that's my input. And I would not have missed this for anything. I just love Christine. I love her energy. Her heart is so open. And any session, I've had 2 sessions with her, but both sessions have been absolutely beautiful. And I just felt so held and loved during my sessions with her.
Yeah, and because I contacted Christine later, and that's how I found out. Mine was about opening the heart, and I'll tell you a story. I attend a channeling class on Wednesday night, and my message from Spirit was always open your heart, open your heart. I started this, and he goes, "Oh, your message isn't about opening your heart anymore." And I'm like, and I didn't tell him about Essence. I didn't tell anything. So, and that was a message I also got from my records. And when I was ready, we found something else. So definitely Christine will be coming back. But I do want, because we have only a few minutes left, anybody have a question they want to ask that might be watching too about Akashic Records or for Christine, we will put her contact information out there for anybody that's interested, but or have a comment, something they've felt shift, anything, because we have 5 minutes. If not, we can continue to talk about, but it's just, they do go hand in hand, because I think that what you said, Christine, about the body holds all of these records, and in my life, I've been really good at ignoring my body. So,
Right.
and I didn't think I was until I started to connect to it and was like, oh, every one of these sensations is telling me something. So
Uh-huh. Each pattern. So like our human beliefs, we're like, there's like, I'm all alone. I'm not loved. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. It's not okay to be me. It's not safe. It's not okay to receive. I got to give, like all of those things, those thoughts go round and round and round and round, and they go into a pattern in the body, and they get tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. And then all I have to do is find it, and then have a little magic from the 6th dimension, and it gets a little softer, and then you learn how to do it yourself. And I was like, oh, I'm not, I'm riding my bike, and I got training wheels on, but I'm back on my bike. It's like, oh, cool. Got the support. I got the support of, and whatever we're working with the records, we will have a flower essence to support that. Those beliefs that I just said, there's different, and I make specialty combinations and put them together for you. There's ones that come together, like, that are already pre-made. But if it's, and sometimes I know it's a pre-made and the person can have it, and otherwise it's just a specialty concoction.
Yeah, mine was a specialty.
Yeah.
But
the one I have here is called Freedom Flower Blend, and this is the one that I brought here on vacation with my family, because like where our original patterns made, right, with our family. So this is the Freedom Flower to help me remember that I'm freedom, that they put the buttons there, but I'm the one that's reacting to them.
I'm the one keep pushing them, right? Yeah.
Right.
So it is a fascinating thing, and for me, because I do astrology records, it really matches that 6th dimension. That's just another picture of how you organized it when you came.
Right.
So,
that shows you where probably the contracts, the places, the place on the planet that you chose, right? All of that is imprinted.
I talk about it being a bus stop conversation that you have before you come down. Okay, I'm doing the, like all those things. So Jennifer wanted to know, are the floral spray, it's not a spray, it's an essence. And yes, on the bottle, it will tell you, but what Christine helps you know is what's it doing? How does it work?
What's it doing? Let's get the right one for you, the right dosage. Because it's powerful medicine. It's vibrational, and we're vibrational beings. And how can you not wait? You look at flowers; they make you feel good. There is a certain essence. Our flowers are our gifts here for healing. So the plant kingdom.
And what's very interesting was when you taught me that even flowers have different vibrations. So we open our own, like she said, when we open your records, the flowers have records, and vibrations, and working with different ones. That's
it, Penny. I mean, Kitty, that's what they're talking to me. I just put that together. Yeah, of course, because I've opened your records.
They're opening the flowers records too. So the higher ones. So anyway, so Christine, thank you so much for coming.
Okay. Amy,
the hour goes fast. It really does.
I didn't get to talk to Amy. No? Okay.
That's all right. She stayed muted. Scooter stayed muted. But thank you so much for coming, and we'll let people know when you're coming back to talk about the flower essences. And we'll actually probably recommend they watch this, because really they do work hand in hand, and you'll send me your information to make sure I've got the right links So
Well, let
people-
me just say it out loud. So the best way to get in touch with me is my cell phone. You can text me anytime. Don't worry about bothering me. If I'm not available, my phone is off. My number is 727 area code 269-1960. My Facebook page is Akashic Records with Christine. I'll spell it.
Oh,
A-K-
I've actually listed it before,
Okay.
even right out there for them.
And my website is, go ahead.
727-269-1960.
1960, yeah, 727-269-1960. And my website is ancient. I haven't updated it in a while, but I have Akashic Records with Christine.com also.
Okay.
So
what-
my classes will be listed on my Facebook page.
Okay, and we'll make sure we list the links even in the YouTube, Facebook thing, but we've listed them for, so thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And from Intuition of the Soul, goodbye for now, and we'll see you soon.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.